Welcome. This is the beginning. Not because anything didn't come before it, but because something inside you and me is ready to move. So this is a series of queer, non-binary, kink-aware interpretation of the major arcana. So, and we don't do tarot as prediction here. We don't do tarot as an authority. We do tarot as a mirror. Tarot as a nervous system regulator. On Alchemy of the Abused, we are looking to regulate our nervous system. Tarot as a ritual language for healing, becoming, and choosing yourself again and again. If you are here, you're not late. You're not just starting. You are arriving precisely when you mean to be. We're going to walk the major arcana as an initiation path. Each card is not a personality type or a fate, it's a threshold. A moment when the psyche and the body and the soul can say something has shifted. And I can't go back to the way I was. For queer people and for trans and non-binary people, for survivors, for kinksters who had to learn consent when others people were learning shame, tarot is becoming a way to name what has never been modeled to us. And today we begin where all initiations begin, with the Fool. The Fool is numbered 0. And, 0 isn't necessarily nothing. It's potential. It's potential before structure. It's before identity and labels step in. It's not naive, it's open, not reckless, willing. In queer lens, the Fool is initiation. The first spark of questioning, the first haircut that feels a little too bold, the first time you think, maybe I'm not what everyone told me I was. You don't come out late, and you arrive exactly when your soul does. And for me, as a person who is coming out as non-binary and realizing my trans identity at 40 years old, this is definitely something I had to embody. As someone who's coming out as trans and non-binary at 40 years old, it can be really difficult to not play those scripts in my head like it's too late, or I'm coming out too late, or I've lived my life so long as this one person, why would I want to be something different? And that's why I had to really resonate with the Fool in that sense of I'm arriving when my soul is ready to. So as a queer archetype, the Fool is this newly out wanderer, and that's why I wanted to do this series, is because I feel I embody that kind of Fool in me. In this newly outed wanderer, I'm the one who is stepping off the heteronormative map without a clear destination. And I honestly am feeling unapologetic about it. It's my queer innocence, and it's reclaimed, not an ignorance, but or an experimentation. It's an experimenting with this without shame. So the Fool, or me, I'm saying I don't know yet, and I don't need to know. So in love, through the lens of love, the Fool is openness, naive, hope, emotional free fall with your hands, unclenched. It's a willingness to risk tenderness before you know how it ends. In sex, the Fool is curiosity, exploration without shame. Saying yes to discovery, and not because you should say yes, but because you want to say yes, because you want to feel. And love can be an emotional risk, and sex can be a playful exploration. So in kink, the Fool carries this beginner energy, trying these new roles and asking questions without being embarrassed, learning your body's language so that Fool is the safe, yes, consensual, curious, grounded in trust, rebellion. Trusting the unknown is an act of resistance. Trusting the unknown is an act of resistance. So this shadow can come with the Fool, or the Fool reversed in this queer lens, is because every archetype has this shadow. You know, every single card has its reverse. And the Fool's shadow isn't just, it's not necessarily stupidity. It's shame about not knowing. That's the Fool reversed. That's the Fool's shadow, is the not knowing the script, or feeling like you're too late and letting that consume you. Feeling of that fear of too much and letting it consume you. And fear of not being enough, queer enough, kinky enough, experienced enough. And that shadow will whisper, you should have figured it out already. But there wasn't a deadline. And healing begins when you stop punishing yourself. So if you're feeling like the Fool reversed and you're punishing yourself, you need to remember that the healing begins when you stop punishing yourself for arriving alive, and you're here and alive. Tarot as a living practice, when you pull the Fool, it's not asking you to leap blindly. It's asking, where have you been invited to begin again without self-contempt? What would change if you treated curiosity as a sacred knowing? To close, we're going to work with the Fool as an archetype. I'm going to do a spread here. We're just going to think about, where am I being invited to begin? And this is the question that we're asking the deck with the Fool in mind. And we've got the Seven of Swords. So now we're going to pull another card here. We've got the, All right, so now we've got, what fear or shame am I carrying into this beginning? Oh, another Swords card. We've got the Four of Swords. What would trust look like here? Oh my god, wow, she's popping them off quick. Oh, we've got the Chariot. Nice. This is the first card. Where am I being invited to begin? This is revealing the edge that I'm standing at. Now, the Seven of Swords is a little bit of a kind of selfish card here. I'm taking away. So I've been finding myself being selfish. I'm being invited to begin sharing my gift. So what fear or shame am I carrying into this beginning? Now we've got the Four of Swords with my rest. I'm afraid it's going to disrupt my peace. I'm afraid that if I start sharing with the world, I'm going to start getting my peace disrupted. And so what would trust look like here? And I got the Chariot, which is amazing because I'm also a Cancer, and this is a card that's related to Cancer. So this is the courage card. This is the showing up card. So this is what I need to be doing. I've been feeling kind of unsure about starting this YouTube channel. Getting these is exactly the draw that I needed. The Chariot's the perfect card to trust myself and to trust my intuition, to trust my strength, and to trust my courage. So this is only the first step of a long journey. I'm going to be doing this with the entire major arcana. I'm doing this so I can, as a Fool, as a beginner, as a newbie, can go through all of these cards. I've been practicing tarot for 5+ years now, but I wanted to learn more about it, and I wanted to explore it in a deeper meaning in relation to my journey currently, which is this queer kink journey. And like I said, this is only the first step. The Fool steps forward, and the path is forming beneath their feet. If this resonated with you, stay with me, because we're walking the entire major arcana together. We're going to be adventuring with the Fool tonight. Are you ready to adventure with me? I'm a fool. Are you a fool? Are you ready to step off this cliff? Part of my queer tarot series is pulling cards. Part of my tarot journey is not only doing my own interpretation, but also looking into others' interpretations. Tonight, it's the new moon. I'm doing Tarot Tuesday, but I find it interesting that it's on the new moon in Capricorn. I wanted to talk about the things in the new moon, and what the Capricorn moon's new moon says is it's calling to you to what is your higher calling. It's about structure. And the Fool has kind of this opposite idea of like, you know, where can you take risks? And that's why I find it interesting that tonight I'm doing this adventuring with the Fool, because where am I ready to begin this kind of risk taking? Is it in this area? Is it in the area of love like I got earlier? You know, are we going to get something different? If you're interested, right, fresh. We're going to give her a nice knock. And do another cut. Let's do this here. What are you ready to begin? New intelligence to spread. Where can I afford to take a risk? My positivity. Oh, well, we want to put this one in the middle. That was exactly what I needed. The Hierophant, which is what area of my life would I benefit? The King of Cups is what does the Fool's dog represent in me? And how will that energy support me? The Page of Wands. Oh. And where will my adventure lead me? I love this. I love this spread. And the cards, they knew, and they showed me that the Fool was ready to be pulled. So where am I ready to begin? We've got this Ace of Swords. Unfortunately, it's reversed. The Ace of Swords, it kind of represents this spark of knowledge. So I'm definitely sharing my knowledge, which is totally something that makes perfect sense in this area with the YouTube. Being ready to begin with that, especially with it reversed. I've been feeling very apprehensive about it. I've been feeling like I don't have enough knowledge, but it's showing me that that is honestly me beginning this, and me just doing this is necessary. And where can I afford to take a risk? So the Sun, it's reversed, but it does represent like this positive beginning, this spark of positivity, and these like, you know, and the yellow and the sun and the wisdom. And I talk about this because I love the color yellow, and I love to bring up the fact that it's not just like a youthful color, it's also a color of wisdom. So where can I afford to take a risk? Perhaps I'm maybe pretending with my positivity too much. I have had a lot of negativity in my life, and I think I need to expose that kind of wound a little bit more. So what area of my life would benefit? Also spiritually, I would benefit from that. I definitely think this is kind of interesting because my topic for this year was sacred rage, and I feel like I'm calmer than I've ever been. And so it's really interesting to me that I kind of got these cards pulled for where can I afford to take a risk, as well as what area of life would I benefit, you know, spiritually from a little mutiny. So maybe I need to be thinking about anger, clarity with my anger more. and how can my anger benefit me, and how can I use my anger to connect more with my audience. And all right, so then we've got the King of Cups. What does the Fool's dog represent? So the Fool's dog is like the stopper, the like barking noise of warning. I got the King of Cups, and the King of Cups has really a lot of control over his emotions, this stoic figure. So the Fool's dog represents to me, I think I'm in control of my emotions. However, I still have a lot to learn, and I still have a lot to work on. How will that energy support me? We've got the Strength card here. Is one of really a deep inner courage. So taking the time to represent myself accurately with my emotional state is something that's going to support me. I know that, this has been much more upfront in the last several years, but being willing to be vulnerable in a sense of showing the people around me that I am human and I have these emotions and these pains and this anger inside of me, and I might not think it's pretty, but it can resonate with others. So where will my adventure lead me? The Page of Wands is finding this earthly emotion and leading himself forward with it. And I do like that. I like that the Page of Wands is the representation of where my adventure will lead me. If you're here and you have watched this and maybe you have your own interpretation, I'd love to hear it. However, I'm going to be here every single Tuesday. Tarot Tuesdays is my 2026 goal, and we're going to be going through all the major arcana this year, my queer and kink interpretation, as well as doing individualistic spreads for each major arcana. And then I'm going to be doing some fun stuff with the minor arcana. So please follow me for my new Tarot Tuesday series. And if you're interested in more, check down below. I have got a bunch of links to my other socials, as well as my other series that I am going to be doing. Follow along for more.